Hello everyone, today I'm going to solve this definite integral over here, and it's a trigonometric sine function, and I'll also find out the exact solution through graphical methods. So let's look at the differentiation chart. If we differentiate sine, then we get cos x. If we differentiate cos, then you get negative sine. Similarly, if you integrate cos over here, then you're going to get sine x. And if you integrate negative sine, then you're going to get cos x. But if you integrate positive sine x, then this negative sign just moves over here. So if you integrate positive sine x, you get negative cos x. So let me just start by integrating this function over here. And as I integrate sine, I'm gonna get negative cos. So I'll just copy this exact thing in the bracket. I'll just copy this over here. I'll just write negative cos 3x plus 1 over 6 pi. Then I'll divide by the differential of whatever is in the bracket. Since 1 over 6 pi is constant, the differential of this is going to be 0. But if I differentiate 3x, I'm just going to get 3. So this entire expression is then divided by 3. Then I just copy the limits over here, which are pi over 3 and pi over 6. So I have to evaluate this fraction at these two limits. So let me just substitute that in place of x. So I'll write minus cos 3 in place of x. I'll write pi over 3. Then I'll just copy the entire thing, 1 over 6 pi divided by 3. And then I'll subtract it, and I'll write again minus cos 3 pi over 6 plus 1 over 6 pi divided by 3. So in places of x, I've replaced pi over 3 and then pi over 6. Now let me evaluate this entire expression over here. This is an expression where with like terms. This is an expression with like terms. So let me just evaluate this. Now when I solve these fractions, these three get cancelled. So I get pi plus 1 over 6 pi, which is 7 over 6 pi. And then this becomes 1 over 2 pi. 1 over 2 pi plus 1 over 6 pi becomes 2 over 3 pi. And then divide by 3. Okay. Now, these two negative signs, they've just given me positive cos. So at this point, I have my expression over here. And what I have to do essentially is I have to evaluate what is cos 7 over 6 pi and what is cos 2 over 3 pi. So now to the graphical portion of this video. So you can see this is a graph of cos theta. Now pi radians gives me 180 degrees. So this is 180 degrees over here. And as part of the syllabus, you have to know the value of cos 30, that is under root 3 over 2, and the value of cos 60, which is half. So let me see what is cos 7 over 6 pi. Since cos pi is basically 180, cos 7 over 6 pi is basically 1 over 6 pi plus pi. Okay, this is, I do some calculations, 1 over 6 pi, once I multiply, since pi is 180, if I replace 180 in place of pi over here, I get 30. So 1 over 6 into 180 gives me 30. And let me see where this lands on my graph. Since 1 over 6 pi is 30 degrees and pi is 180, so 7 over 6 pi basically becomes 210. Okay. So let me see where does 7 over 6 pi lands on my graph. This is pi over here. This is pi over 2. Let me see where is pi over 6. So pi over 6 is basically somewhere over here. This is pi over 6. This is pi over 6. Okay. And then pi plus pi over 6, that's going to come somewhere over here. So this is going to be 7 over 6 pi, which is essentially pi plus pi over 6. And since this is 30 degrees and over here, if you match up, this is going to give me under root 3 over 2. And the cos graph, it is symmetric. So 7 over 6 pi, this basically is going to give me over here negative under root 3 over 2. Okay, if I just look at the graph, and I can see that this comes in the negative portion. Let me say this lands here. This is a little bit above. So this is going to give me negative 3 over 2. How much 2 over 3 pi is in terms of degree? So this essentially becomes 60 into 2 or 120 degrees. Now I'm just trying to find where does 2 over 3 lie in. So I see that pi over 3 over here is 60 degrees. Okay, this is 60 degrees. Now I just want to locate where does 2 over 3 pi, where does this fall in my graph over here? It is definitely, since I see this is 120 degrees and this is 180, this is 90 degrees, this is 180 degrees, and this is 120 degrees. So it's gonna lie in this portion somewhere over here. It's gonna lie. That's why that means it's going to be a negative value. Now let me see where does 2 over 3 pi lie. If I take the distance from 90 degrees, so 30 degrees before 60 lies and 30 degrees after 120 lies. So this is going to be cos 60, this is going to be cos 120. And since the cos graph is kind of symmetrical, I can see that the value over here, this is going to be 1 over 2. This is why the value over here is going to be negative 1 over 2. So that's why my answer for cos 2 over 3, that is going to be negative 1 over 2. And similarly, like we calculated before, the answer for 7 over 6 pi was negative under root 3 over 2. Okay, now when I try to evaluate these, what's my answer is written in cleaner terms. So these two negative signs cancel out. I get positive 3 over 6 and then negative 1 over 6. So that's going to be my exact answer.